Have you ever noticed, as the years have gently rolled by, and aren't they rolling faster than ever these days? Have you ever noticed that getting around just isn't quite as effortless as it used to be? Maybe those stairs seem a little steeper, or that walk to the mailbox feels a bit longer. Or perhaps just getting up from your favorite armchair isn't as springy as it once was. If you're nodding your head right now, you're definitely not alone. It's something many of us experience as we get a little wiser, a little more seasoned, shall we say. And you know what? It's perfectly normal to notice these changes. But feeling like your legs are losing their strength, feeling less steady on your feet, that doesn't have to be just accepted as part of getting older. Food 1, sugary drinks. What if I said that much of it comes down to something you have a whole lot more control over than you might think? I'm talking about what you're eating. Yes, that's right. The food we choose to put into our bodies plays a massive role in how our muscles, and especially our leg muscles, hold up over time. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Food, really? I thought leg strength was all about exercise. And you're absolutely right. Exercise is crucial, and we'll talk about that more in other videos, I promise. But think of it like this. Exercise is the workout, the building, the construction. But food is the fuel, the bricks, the very materials you're building with. You can't build a strong house with flimsy materials, can you? And the same goes for your body, especially for keeping those legs strong and ready for anything life throws your way, whether it's dancing at a grandchild's wedding, keeping up with the grandkids in the park. Food 2, processed foods. We're going to dive into 5, yes, just 5 common foods that are actually working against you when it comes to leg strength. These aren't foods that are just not so good for you in a general way. These are foods that can actively sabotage your leg muscles, making them weaker, making them less responsive, and frankly, making you feel older than you need to feel. Now don't worry. This isn't about deprivation or fad diets. This is about making smart, informed choices. It's about understanding what truly nourishes your body, especially as we get a little older, and what actually works against it. And trust me, making these small changes, cutting back on these 5 specific foods, can make a really, really big difference in how you feel, how you move, and how strong you stay, especially in your legs. We're talking about feeling more energetic, more stable, and just plain more confident in your everyday life. Imagine feeling that spring back in your step. That's what we're aiming for here. Food 3, refined carbohydrates. The first food on our list, and this might be a tough one for some of us, is sugary drinks. Think about what's actually in these sugary drinks. It's mostly, well, sugar. Pure refined sugar, often in the form of high fructose corn syrup or just plain old sucrose. And when you drink these down, your body gets a massive, sudden rush of sugar. Now, your body is pretty amazing at handling things, but this sugar rush is like throwing a whole bucket of coal into a little stove all at once. It creates a spike in your blood sugar levels, and your body has to work really hard to bring those levels back down. And what does this have to do with your leg strength? You might be wondering. Well, consistently high blood sugar levels, especially over time, can lead to something called insulin resistance. Think of insulin as the key that unlocks your cells and lets sugar in for energy. When you become insulin resistant, your cells start to become less responsive to insulin, like they're changing the locks on the doors. This means sugar stays in your bloodstream for longer, and this excess sugar can actually damage your muscles. It can interfere with muscle protein synthesis, which is the process your body uses to build and repair muscle tissue. And guess what muscles we rely on heavily for strength and mobility? That's right, our leg muscles. Food 4, excessive saturated and unhealthy fats. Furthermore, these sugary drinks are often completely empty calories. They provide a quick burst of energy followed by a crash, but they offer virtually no vitamins, minerals, or nutrients that your muscles need to stay strong and healthy. Think of them like fuel that burns fast and hot, but leaves behind a lot of smoke and no lasting power. Your muscles need sustained, quality fuel, not just a fleeting sugar rush. And it's not just about the sugar itself. Many sugary drinks are also highly acidic. Think about fizzy sodas. They can actually erode the enamel on your teeth, and that same acidity can also contribute to inflammation in your body. And inflammation is like a fire burning quietly inside you. It can weaken your muscles, make them ache, and make it harder for them to recover after any kind of activity. Chronic inflammation is definitely not your friend when you're trying to maintain leg strength. Good protein sources and tips for increasing intake. So, what kind of drinks are we talking about specifically? Well, sodas are a big one, of course. Even diet sodas, which we'll touch on later, aren't ideal. Many fruit juices, especially the ones from concentrate, are also packed with sugar. Sweetened iced teas, lemonade, even fancy coffee drinks with syrups and whipped cream, these can all be surprisingly high in sugar. Even sports drinks, which are marketed for athletes, are often loaded with sugar and really not necessary for everyday hydration, especially if you're not engaging in intense, prolonged exercise. What should you drink instead? Well, the best thing, hands down, is plain water. It's simple, it's free, and it's absolutely essential for every function in your body, including muscle function. Unsweetened tea, both hot and iced, is another great option. Herbal teas, green tea, black tea, they all offer flavor and hydration without the added sugar. You can even add a slice of lemon or cucumber to your water for a little flavor boost without the sugar. If you crave something fizzy, try sparkling water. You can find flavored sparkling waters that are naturally flavored and sugar-free. Making the switch from sugary drinks to healthier alternatives might seem like a small change, but it can have a surprisingly big impact on your energy levels, your overall health, and yes, your leg strength. It's about choosing to nourish your body with real hydration rather than just empty calories that can actually work against you. Think of it as giving your legs the gift of real, lasting fuel instead of a fleeting sugar high that ultimately leaves them weaker in the long run. Now, let's move on to the second food group that can be a real saboteur when it comes to your leg strength. And this one is processed foods. Processed foods, that's a pretty broad term, isn't it? What exactly are we talking about here? Well, processed foods are essentially foods that have been altered from their natural state for convenience, preservation, or sometimes just to make them taste more appealing. Think about things like packaged snacks, your chips, your crackers, your cookies. Think about ready-made meals you find in the freezer section or on the shelves of the supermarket. Think about processed meats like sausages, bacon, and deli meats. Even things like white bread and many breakfast cereals fall into the category of processed foods. Now, not all processing is inherently bad. Freezing vegetables, for example, is a form of processing that can actually preserve nutrients and make healthy foods more accessible. But when we talk about processed foods that are detrimental to leg strength, we're talking about those that are typically. One of the biggest problems with many processed foods is their high sodium content. Salt, or sodium, is used as a preservative and flavor enhancer in many processed foods, and while a little bit of sodium is essential for our bodies, too much sodium can be really problematic, especially as we get older. Excess sodium can contribute to high blood pressure, which puts strain on your heart and blood vessels. And guess what? Healthy blood flow is absolutely crucial for delivering nutrients and oxygen to your muscles, including your leg muscles. If your blood vessels are constricted due to high blood pressure, your muscles aren't getting the nourishment they need to stay strong. Furthermore, many processed foods are loaded with unhealthy fats, particularly trans fats and saturated fats. These fats, especially trans fats, are known to contribute to inflammation in the body. And as we talked about earlier, inflammation is the enemy of muscle strength. It can break down muscle tissue and hinder muscle recovery. Saturated fats, while not as harmful as trans fats, can also contribute to increased cholesterol levels, which can further impact heart health and blood flow, indirectly affecting your leg muscles. And let's not forget the lack of nutrients in many processed foods. They are often stripped of their natural vitamins, minerals, and fiber during processing. Instead, they are packed with empty calories that provide little to no nutritional value for your muscles. Your leg muscles, like all your muscles, need a constant supply of protein to rebuild and repair, vitamins and minerals to function properly, and complex carbohydrates for sustained energy. Processed foods often fall woefully short in providing these essential nutrients. Think about reaching for a bag of potato chips as a snack. They're salty, crunchy, satisfying in the moment, right? But what are you actually giving your body? Mostly unhealthy fats, salt, and refined carbohydrates. Very little protein, very little fiber, very few vitamins and minerals. It's like trying to build a house with cardboard instead of bricks. It might look like something for a little while, but it's not going to be strong or long-lasting. So, What are some examples of processed foods to be mindful of? We've already mentioned chips, crackers, cookies, and mini packaged snacks. Ready-made meals, frozen dinners, and instant noodles are often heavily processed. Processed meats like hot dogs, sausages, bacon, and deli meats are typically high in sodium and unhealthy fats. Many breakfast cereals, especially the sugary, brightly colored ones, are also highly processed. White bread, pastries, and cakes are made with refined flour and often loaded with sugar and unhealthy fats. The key here isn't to eliminate all processed foods entirely. That might be unrealistic for many of us, but it's about being mindful of how much processed food you're consuming and making conscious choices to reduce your intake. Focus on eating more whole, unprocessed foods. Think fresh fruits and vegetables, lean proteins like chicken and fish, whole grains like brown rice and quinoa, and healthy fats from sources like avocados and nuts. When you do choose packaged foods, read the labels carefully. Look for options that are lower in sodium, unhealthy fats and added sugars, and higher in fiber and protein. The ingredient list can be a real eye-opener. The shorter and more recognizable the ingredient list, the better. By consciously reducing your consumption of processed foods and focusing on whole, nutrient-rich alternatives, you're giving your leg muscles and your entire body a much better chance to stay strong, healthy, and resilient. It's about choosing to fuel your body with quality ingredients that will support your strength and mobility for years to come. Now, we've covered sugary drinks and processed foods, two big culprits that can really undermine your leg strength, but there are still three more food groups we need to talk about. And they might surprise you just as much, if not more. In the next part of this video, we'll dive into these next three food categories and explore exactly why they can be detrimental to your leg strength, and, most importantly, what you can eat instead to keep those legs feeling strong and ready for anything. So stick around, because this is information you definitely don't want to miss. When you eat a diet high in refined carbohydrates and low in fiber, you're missing out on these important benefits. And when it comes to leg strength, fiber plays a more indirect but still significant role. Healthy digestion and stable blood sugar levels contribute to overall energy and well-being, which are essential for maintaining an active lifestyle and supporting muscle health. Furthermore, refined carbohydrates are often lacking in essential vitamins and minerals that your muscles need to function optimally. Think about whole grains versus refined grains. Whole grains like brown rice, whole wheat bread, and oats are packed with B vitamins, magnesium, and other nutrients that are vital for muscle function, nerve function, and energy production. Refined grains, on the other hand, are largely stripped of these nutrients, offering mostly empty calories. It's like choosing to build with weak, flimsy wood instead of strong, solid timber. Your legs just won't have the robust foundation they need to stay powerful. Consider a typical breakfast of white toast with jam and a glass of fruit juice. It might seem quick and easy, but it's a trifecta of refined carbohydrates and sugar. The white toast is refined, the jam is loaded with sugar, and many fruit juices, as we discussed, are high in sugar and low in fiber. This kind of breakfast is likely to lead to a mid-morning energy crash, leaving you feeling sluggish and less motivated to move, which is definitely not conducive to building or maintaining leg strength. So, what are some simple swaps you can make to reduce your intake of refined carbohydrates and boost your leg strength? Instead of white bread, choose whole wheat bread or, even better, sourdough bread, which is often easier to digest. Instead of white pasta, opt for whole wheat pasta, or explore alternatives like quinoa pasta or lentil pasta, which are higher in protein and fiber. Instead of white rice, choose brown rice, quinoa, or even barley. When it comes to breakfast cereals, look for whole grain options that are low in sugar and high in fiber. Oatmeal is a fantastic choice, especially steel-cut oats or rolled oats. And instead of pastries and cakes, try satisfying your sweet tooth with fresh fruit or a small portion of dark chocolate. The key is to make gradual, sustainable changes. You don't have to completely eliminate refined carbohydrates overnight, but start by making conscious swaps whenever you can. Read the labels on packaged foods and choose whole grain options whenever possible. When you're eating out, ask for whole grain bread or brown rice instead of white. These small changes can add up to a big difference in your energy levels, your overall health, and yes, your leg strength. It's about choosing carbohydrates that fuel your body with sustained energy and essential nutrients rather than just providing a fleeting sugar rush that ultimately leaves you feeling depleted. Think of it as upgrading your fuel source from low-grade gasoline to premium fuel. Your engine, in this case your legs, will run much smoother and stronger. Now let's move on to our fourth food category that can be a real obstacle to leg strength. This one revolves around excessive saturated and unhealthy fats. We touched on unhealthy fats when we discussed processed foods, but it's important to delve into this topic a bit more specifically because the type of fats we eat has a profound impact on our overall health and, crucially, on our muscle health, including our leg muscles. When we talk about unhealthy fats, we're primarily referring to saturated fats and trans fats. Trans fats are generally considered the worst type of fat. They are often artificially created during food processing and are found in many commercially baked goods, fried foods, and processed snacks. Saturated fats are found in animal products like fatty red meats, full-fat dairy products, and some plant-based oils like coconut oil and palm oil. While saturated fats are not quite as universally condemned as trans fats, excessive intake can still be problematic, especially for heart health and inflammation levels. Why are these unhealthy fats bad for leg strength? Well, one of the main reasons again comes back to inflammation. Both saturated and trans fats, especially trans fats, are known to promote inflammation throughout the body. And as we've emphasized, chronic inflammation is detrimental to muscle health. It can break down muscle tissue, hinder muscle repair, and contribute to muscle weakness. When your body is constantly in a state of inflammation, it's much harder for your muscles, including your leg muscles, to stay strong and function optimally. Furthermore, excessive intake of unhealthy fats, particularly saturated fats, can contribute to the buildup of plaque in your arteries, a condition known as atherosclerosis. This plaque buildup narrows your arteries and restricts blood flow. And just like with high blood pressure, reduced blood flow means your muscles, including your leg muscles, are not getting the oxygen and nutrients they need to thrive. Imagine trying to water a garden with a hose that's partially blocked. The plants won't get enough water to flourish. Similarly, if your arteries are clogged with plaque, your muscles won't get enough blood flow to stay strong and healthy. And let's not forget the impact of unhealthy fats on weight gain. Fats are calorie-dense, meaning they contain more calories per gram than carbohydrates or protein. While healthy fats are an essential part of a balanced diet, excessive intake of unhealthy fats can easily lead to weight gain, especially if you're not burning off those extra calories through physical activity. And carrying excess weight puts added strain on your joints and muscles, particularly your leg muscles. The key is to strike a balance. You don't have to completely eliminate all fats from your diet. In fact, you shouldn't. Fats are essential for many bodily functions, including hormone production, nutrient absorption, and cell function. But it's about choosing the right types of fats and consuming them in moderation. Reduce your intake of fried foods, fatty red meats, processed snacks, and commercially baked goods. Swap out unhealthy cooking oils for olive oil or avocado oil. And prioritize incorporating more sources of healthy unsaturated fats into your meals and snacks. By making these conscious choices, you're not only supporting your heart health but also giving your leg muscles and all your muscles the fuel they need to stay strong, healthy, and resilient. It's about choosing fats that nourish and protect your body rather than those that contribute to inflammation and weakness. And there you have it. We've covered the 5 food categories that can be detrimental to your leg strength: sugary drinks, processed foods, refined carbohydrates, excessive unhealthy fats, and insufficient protein. Now, I know this might seem like a lot of information, and you might be thinking, where do I even start? But don't feel overwhelmed. Remember, small changes consistently applied can lead to big results. You don't have to overhaul your entire diet overnight. Start with 1 or 2 small swaps each week. Maybe this week you focus on cutting out sugary drinks and replacing them with water or unsweetened tea. Next week, you could start swapping white bread for whole wheat bread and adding more vegetables to your meals. The week after that, maybe you focus on increasing your protein intake by adding a serving of Greek yogurt to your breakfast or snacking on nuts. The key is to make gradual, sustainable changes that you can stick with long term. Think of it as a journey, not a race. Every small positive change you make is a step in the right direction towards stronger legs, more energy, and a healthier, more vibrant you. And remember, it's never too late to start. No matter your age, making these dietary changes can have a significant positive impact on your leg's strength and overall well-being. I truly believe that you have the power to take control of your health and your leg's strength. It's not about restrictive diets or deprivation. It's about making informed choices, nourishing your body with the right foods, and giving your legs the support they need to keep you active and mobile for years to come. Imagine feeling stronger, steadier on your feet, and more confident in your ability to do the things you love. That's what's possible when you make these positive changes to your diet. So, I encourage you to take action today. Start by thinking about 1 or 2 small changes you can make based on what we've discussed in this video. And I would absolutely love to hear from you in the comments below. What are your biggest takeaways from this video? What changes are you planning to make? Do you have any questions or tips to share with others? Let's create a supportive community here and encourage each other on this journey to stronger legs and better health. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps us reach more people who could benefit from this information. And if you're new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. We're always sharing helpful tips and information to help you live your healthiest and happiest life, especially as you navigate these wonderful years. Click that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, taking care of your health is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. Here's to strong legs, vibrant health, and living your best life at any age. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.